Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. It's that time of the week again, isn't it? It's rolled around once again. It's the time of the week when a fat, bald northern lad has no idea what he's going to talk about for the next hour or so, or thereabouts, but he does know he's going to have a beer. So, cheers, everyone. Nice of you all to turn up once again, as I say, to watch a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute nonsense for an hour. Yes, every time it usually gets to about 10 to 5 on a Friday. And because, this live stream is monetized, therefore it earns me money. Therefore, when I come upstairs, I always say to the wife, just off to work now, darling. And I get that look. Usually a sarcastic quip like, don't work too hard, dear. I'll try not to. But there you go. As is traditional, or has become the tradition. Let's see who we got in. Let's do the register. I see Rent to Kill was first in. How are you, mate? Then Mark Kernow, Peter Nicholson, Peter Collins, Balder. And then who else we got? We've got Sean House. And we've got Terry S., Johnny Random, Steve Hale, Terry Day. Grandpa Joe is in, so is Edwin Toonan. Craig Stamen is there as well. And scrolling down, I see we've got Anton and a bit of chit-chat going on between you chaps, as I can see. Then there's Phil B. and Cylon Hybrid. And we got Dr. Gomez 1 and PFY Guitars, Marvellous Bloke, 60s Man, Ian Clark saying hello all from a very sunny Sussex. Looking forward to a break from building SEO on websites. Well, yes, riveting, mate, riveting. It hasn't been that sunny here today, actually. I've been hearing from people at elsewhere in the UK that it's been a bit of a scorcher, but Redcar has remained resolutely overcast. And to be honest with you, I don't mind. I'm not really built for sunshine, as you can tell by this kind of complexion. And then there's Chip Young and Michael Palmer. Michael's been pretty local to me, and he's been having good weather, so it must just be Redcar. Then we've got Ben Allmark, Paul Trainer, BSC no less, and then DJW. There's a bit of a query he's putting forward there. Just tried a new Kramer Night Swan, Indonesian or Korean made. Last time I picked one up was when they first came out. Can anyone name the year? I'd be struggling, mate. It's the Night Swan. I seem to remember that was a guitar that I remember seeing on like that big full-page ad on the back page of Guitar Player magazine, and I didn't read that much after the late 80s. So I'm going to say it was probably, let's say 88 or 89. That would be my best guess. And let's have a look, see what else we've got. We've got James Hunt and Gordo Canuck in as well. There's David Evans. And scrolling down, I see we've got Dave Fiendish. And then who else we got? We've got Calby and the Rocco Cat. Making a comment about the current state of the atmosphere there. Yes, I did read something about that in the news. Hope it sorts itself out or gets sorted out soon, mate. Then let's scroll down a bit further. And who else we got? We got Jag Records. Is it Jag or JARAG? No, JARG, I beg your pardon. I haven't had enough beer yet, obviously. But nice to see you there, mate. There's John Mack as well. And I can see we've got Mickey Walnuts is in, Deco Dude as well. Brad Matthews, David James, Steve Entwistle are all in. There's Reeled In 58. Let's read what you're saying there, mate. Had a new guitar day on Wednesday. Finally got hold of a Paisley. It's the one they call the Hot Rod. Just one humbucker at the bridge. Well pleased. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's well known that I have a bit of a working relationship with Bax Music, who own the Faisley brand, and they send me guitars from time to time to review. But when they first approached me, I said, "Well, yeah, I'll happily take some guitars to review, but I'm going to tell it like it is. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. I mean, I think the last thing they sent me was a pair of amps, and one of them, the clean channel on it, was not very good at all, to be honest with you. And I said so in the video. They have been in touch since, and there are some more coming my way, some more guitars. Some of the new range that are coming out. Johnny Budget Guitar Show had the scoop on that a little while ago. I don't know if you saw that video. But yeah, Faisley, I've got to say that all the ones I've tried have been, certainly all the guitars I've tried have been punching well above the weight. In fact, you can see back there that green Telecaster on the wall, or that green Telecopy there. That was one that they sent me to review, and I had to send it back, and I said, "You're not getting this one back. Send me the bill. I want to keep it." And in the end, they said, "No, you can have it," which was nice of them. But I was more than happy to pay full price for that one, because it's great guitar. Possibly the best Telecaster style guitar I've owned in a long time. Then who else we got in? We've got Chris Ottewell, and Andy Nisbet is there, and there's Fiend Tunes, and who else we got? Gary Shaw. Nice one, mate. How are you? And then let's scroll down a bit further. Dan Bernstein. Nice, long time no see, mate. I hope you're doing okay these days. The Essex Cat is there, so is Amadeus. And we've got Steve Cassidy guitar. Steve, little thing I want to kind of run by you. So if you'd like to email me, you can... well, you know my email address because I mention it in all the videos, but just in case you don't, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. Give us a shout, mate. There's something I want to talk to you about. And, or you can use the contact form on my website, but, get in touch, basically. And because, as I say, there's something I'd like to discuss with you. And there's Malcolm Spillett. And we got Cowas Music, John Channing, Dave Lewis. How are you, mate? Colin Falcon is in. So is I'm going to have to put this up on the big screen here because I can't. Is it Cal Texper saying good morning from Los Angeles, no less? Well, it always makes me feel rather humble that I get people, in this humble little kind of town on the northeast coast of Yorkshire in the UK, that somebody from Los Angeles is kind of watching me here. How weird is that? And then Steve Spronson, and we got who else? We got Steve in Seattle again. Ditto Seattle. These places like Los Angeles and Seattle. It's hard to describe how kind of romanticized all of these kind of big American kind of place names are to, a little bloke like, well, not such a fat bloke like me who grew up in the sticks in North Yorkshire, and now you're all turning up on a Friday to watch me talk nonsense for an hour. Thank you, each and every one of you. Then we've got Pablo Hank, and we've got Watches and Guitars, Nancy Davis, Robert Galbraith, there's the Time Prophet in there, and Ryan Byrne, RF, Big Bokey, and Chris Ottewell saying, like the t-shirt, yes. To our international viewers, this was a fantastic TV show in the 80s in the UK, and it's still. I'll probably be watching an episode or two later, courtesy of BritBox. Then we've got Adam San, Jerry Hanners, Vincent Brennan, and Nathan, and Dennis. Is that Dennis Flock? Hello from sunny Chicago again. Another kind of place that I've never thought I'd be having anybody from there kind of joining me for a beer on a Friday evening. Then we've got Neil Roberts, and who else we've got? We've got Lawrence Hastings, and Sargie's in. How are you? Michael, yes, I hadn't heard that news, mate. Rest in peace, Tony McPhee, who died this week. I used to have, back when I was at college, I used to have a cassette that I must admit, I think I borrowed from somebody and they never got it back. And one side was the best of Mountain, and the other side was the best of the Groundhogs. And that was my introduction to Tony McPhee. I see Edwin Toonan. Thank you, mate. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Yes, indeed, it is the Heineken today. Thank you so much. Well, it's the remnants of some Heineken, but unfortunately, the beer that I was saving for the weekend didn't quite make it to the weekend. So this is there's Heineken, and I think what else have I got in here? Carlsberg Export is the other tipple for the evening. Who else we got? We've got Ravensmead. We've got let's see who else we've got. Steve Cassidy guitar. No, you're not in trouble, mate. No, just something I want to talk to you about, maybe. Mate, that's all. We've got On Road again. Is asking a question. What are the easiest and hardest guitars to sell that you've had experience with? Any guitar is an easy guitar to sell if you price it right. And I'm in a very fortunate position that I can afford to sell cheaper than pretty much, well, most people really, because as I've explained before, if I buy a guitar, I'll try and get a good price on it, obviously, but then I can sell it at a ridiculously good price as well, because that guitar is going to earn me some YouTube revenue, and I can usually make at least break even, and in some cases make a profit, and in some very, very rare cases, basically kind of end up with a free guitar. That's happened a couple of times. And if I do end up with a free guitar through that, because the guitar has more than paid for itself in YouTube revenue, then I like to try and pass that on a bit. You might remember the Harley Benton SC 552 that I had, which I gave away as a kind of as a competition prize on this live stream, I believe. And there was another one, the Donna guitar, that again, when I kind of ran the numbers on what it had kind of earned me in YouTube revenue and what I'd paid for it, and this, that, and the other, because I came by that via a sort of a trade rather than buying it. Then I thought, yeah, this guitar is basically, it's cost me nothing. So that ended up going to Budget Guitar Show, Johnny, and he made some videos with it, so he was getting some good use out of it. But easy guitars to sell. Dear me, I've always found Epiphones shift pretty quick. There's after I showed that white Epiphone Les Paul Custom on the live stream last week, a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of a teaser for the videos that it's going to be appearing in. I've already had offers on that. So Epiphones always seem to shift really quickly. And as I say, I've never had a lot of difficulty selling guitars, certainly since the YouTube thing started, because I'm always able to, because of the YouTube revenue the guitars give me, I'm always able to price them competitively. What you're saying there, Time Prophet? Oh, that's, yes. I saw the word Dusseldorf in there. That is a reference to the T-shirt, is it? Yes, indeed. For anybody who doesn't, international viewers, I know we've got people in LA, Seattle, and Chicago joining us for a beer at the moment. I hope whatever time of day it is in those locations, you are able to have a sneaky beer. I hope you can kind of sneak one in whatever time of day it is, or watch again on catch up and have a beer with me then when it is an appropriate time. And hello to everyone who's watching on catch up, by the way. When I first log into StreamYard every week, it always says, don't forget to greet people who are watching on catch up. But yeah, for our international viewers, Auf Wiedersehen Pet was a classic 80s sitcom about a group of British migrant workers going to work in Germany. Then the second series, they were in Spain. And then they kind of resurrected it again in the early 2000s, where I think they were in Cuba for that, weren't they? For one of those series. But the two classic series are the ones from the 80s. And just great comedy writing, really. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Time Prophet. That's very, very kind of you to post that. Thank you so much. I don't like begging for likes. I do it in all my videos, I suppose, but it's if people like me, then they're going to hit the like button, and if people don't, then they won't. Anyway, I need to tell you what's coming on the channel this week, don't I? Because I often kind of get carried away and start blethering and forget. So what we got coming up on the channel this week then? Well, you saw yesterday that little Moore P1 Prime headphone amp, the sort of first impressions video of that. You're going to hear that in a mix on Sunday, and well, you'll have to watch the video to see what I think of it. You probably already know what I think of it anyway, in terms of basically, sounds okay, but a bit pricey, really. It were my final conclusions. But watch the video and you'll hear what it sounds like in a mix. Then on Monday, a solo analysis as usual, and we're dealing with something that you'd probably I never thought, at least, and you probably never thought as well, that you'd see on this channel. A guitar solo from a song featuring a member of the Spice Girls. So put your thinking caps on. Think of a song with a guitar solo that features a Spice Girl. And there aren't that many to choose from, so you might just get it in one. So that's Monday's video. Then I've noticed when I do the top 5 Tuesday videos that when I go a little bit off topic, like when I was talking about my favourite movies in a couple of those videos, they tend to do rather well. So I'm thinking I might do a few more of those. Yeah, there we go. Carl Tom's got it. There we go. It's Bryan Adams, When You're Gone. Yes, featuring Mel B. Is it Mel B or Mel C? The Scouse one. The one that, what was she? I forget what the names were, but she Scouse Spice, we'll say there. So, yeah, it's that Bryan Adams tune there, and any excuse to do a Keith Scott guitar solo, because I think he is one of the most underrated guitar players of the 80s, really, which was the sort of Bryan Adams decade. I don't know, he's still going now, but, he has that kind of bluesiness. He seems to be a kind of bluesy guitar player who kind of gets a little bit of kind of melodic kind of thing going on, and just enough kind of twiddly flashiness to keep it interesting, and just makes it all in a very appetizing package. So that's what, as I say, any excuse to do a Keith Scott guitar solo. Yeah, as I say, Tuesday's video, when I do these kind of off-topic, as in like not music or guitar-related top 5 lists, they always seem to do rather well. So I'm thinking I might do a few more of those. Let me know what you think. But another pastime of mine that I really, really enjoy as a way of relaxing is getting me head into a good book. And that is what Tuesday's video is about, my 5 favourite books. The ones that I go back and read again and again and again and again, in the same way that you will kind of listen to one of your favourite albums multiple times, or watch your favourite movie multiple times. The 5 books that I just keep going back to and enjoying reading, even though you know what's going to happen and the plot. They're all just what you would call kind of, if you were being uncharitable, you'd probably call them all just kind of airport fiction. You know, I read to be entertained. I don't read to be enlightened or educated. Occasionally I'll read a non-fiction thing, but you know, by and large I do tend to like, you know, a good story. And you'll find out what my top 5 are on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, a viewer's question video once again, because that's what we do on Wednesdays. If you have any questions of a guitar or music related nature and you think I'm the chap to answer, then get in touch. I said the email address earlier, or you can check out the website jrguitartuition at gmail.com. That's the email address. The website is johnrobsonmusic.co.uk. Get in touch. Yeah, somebody who got in touch asked for some advice on soldering. So we're doing a bit of a basic tutorial on how to solder on Wednesday. As I say in that video, there are a lot of people who are unnecessarily scared of using a soldering iron and think that it's some dark art that you have to learn. It is something where, honestly, you know, sometimes you do feel like, well, okay, in this hand, I'm going to hold the soldering iron. In this hand, I'm going to hold the solder. And in the other hand, I'm going to hold whatever it is I'm soldering. There is a little bit of that to it. But I was at college in the 80s. I was studying to be a merchant Navy radio officer, of all things. And we had one lecture on soldering, and by the end of that lecture, the entire class, all 20 odd of us, knew how to solder. It's something that it's just, you know, get a soldering iron, get some solder, get some scraps of wire, have a bit of a practice. It's nowhere near as difficult as you might think, as hopefully I will be showing in Wednesday's video. Then on Thursday, we have an unboxing for you. Always like an unboxing video because they get me lots of views and pay for more of this. So yeah, it's on Thursday. I am without a shadow of a doubt going to be, well, I already have done, but you haven't seen it yet. But on Thursday, you're going to see me unboxing what is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most expensive guitar I have ever unboxed on this channel. For a few weeks, you'll have seen, just sat behind the desk there, a big old Gibson shipping box. And I know there's been some speculation in the chat on live streams about what was in that box. Well, you're going to find out on Thursday. And there's a bit of a story attached to that guitar. And you are going to be thinking, well, you're going to be very envious of someone by the end of that video. Not me, but all will be explained in Thursday's video. As I say, you don't want to miss that one. It's a good one to watch. I see Michael Purcell is saying, not if you have tremors in your hand. Well, yeah, there is that, mate, I suppose. You know, but unless you have some underlying medical kind of reason why picking up a soldering iron might not be a wise idea, it is a relatively easy thing to do. Anyway, I've been blethering for ages. I need some lubrication. Bear with me, chaps. Everybody get your fingers poised over the F, the L, the A, the K, and the E. Is this going to be a flake pour? Or this is the thing. Heineken never tends to go that kind of lively on the head. So that's not bad. That's not bad. I've done worse than that. I mean, come on, admit it. I have, haven't I? So, yes. Anyway, let's have a look in the chat, see what I've been missing while I've been in blethering mode. Reeling58 is saying, do you know that Ford named the cars after gentlemen's magazines a few times? Escort, Fiesta, but the Ford Reader's Wife Special didn't do so well. Yes, indeed. I related an anecdote about that a couple of weeks ago. I think I won't bore you with it now, but there was a Ford car that was allegedly going to be named after a slang British term for the word toilet, and it took some kind of explaining to the American executives in by the Ford UK people that you can't really put a car on sale in the UK with that name because that word means toilet. So we've got Bob Contreras in. How are you, mate? Let's have a look. No, the expensive guitar isn't going to be a giveaway, mate. I'm afraid, not at all, because it wasn't mine to give away. I took delivery of that expensive guitar on behalf of someone else, who occasionally pops up. Oh, there we go. Steve Entwistle has got it there. The Ford Car SI, Carsy, yes. Yeah, I took delivery of that ridiculously expensive guitar on behalf of somebody else who wasn't available in the UK, in the country at the time. He was out of the UK, yes, but now it's gone back to him. Adam San is saying, question please, would you sooner have one expensive guitar or three mid-priced ones? No competition there, mate. I'd sooner have the three mid-priced ones, because, not to give too much away, but the expensive guitar that I will be unboxing on Thursday is a beautiful guitar. It genuinely is. But when you get into kind of guitars that have a price tag well into four figures, you're chasing diminishing returns. You do not, a £5,000 guitar is not 5 times better than a £1,000 guitar or 10 times better than a £500 guitar. It's just those little kind of extra kind of touches that cost all the money. So if you want a guitar that is, 99% as good as a £5,000 guitar, you can get one for under £1,000 easily. This guitar here, my Les Paul Tribute, I'm always a bit miffed that never comes out on camera as well as it does when I kind of hold it up to the light like this. Isn't that a beautiful, it's not a flame top, but it has got a nice little bit of figuring in it that you never seem to see in the videos. This is a lovely guitar, but the Harley Benton SC 552 was also a lovely guitar. And, the SC 552 by Harley Benton is in many ways higher spec than that Les Paul because it had stainless steel frets. And this isn't buyer's remorse or anything. I really have bonded with that Les Paul. It's that's never going anywhere. But the Harley Benton SC 550 was, I think, 240 quid, and that Les Paul Tribute was £1,000. Is the Les Paul Tribute 4 times as good? No, it isn't. But it's I wanted to give myself a little pat on the back for having had a good year and done well in that year, and so I thought, well, I'm going to get myself a Les Paul because it's 30 years since I'd had one, so I thought, well, it's time, and I really bonded with it. If I hadn't bonded with it, I could have got rid of it, and as I said earlier, possibly with the YouTube videos I've made with it, broke even or maybe come out a little bit in front. So in answer to your question, one expensive guitar or three kind of mid-priced ones, yeah, I'd have the three, all day long. Craig Stamen is saying, my Gordon Smith was £1,000 and I say it holds up to 25k guitar. Your Gordon Smith, mate, is absolutely gorgeous. You brought it round for me to have a look at one day, didn't you? And I can't remember, did we make a video about that? Probably we did. I wouldn't have missed that opportunity, and that is a beautiful guitar. Malcolm Spillett saying, that's why my Martin Booth has never left the house. Yeah, they are lovely guitars. Beautiful. I mean, what a talented luthier. You don't hear much of him these days. Gordo Canuck is asking, so what is the best value guitar that you own, not including Blondie? Honestly, the best value guitar, hang on. This one. USA made PRS, and you know, it's like, how can I put this? I've played plenty of PRS SE guitars, and they're great guitars. I'm not a fan of the PRS Birds, as you know, but you know that's not a kind of failing of the guitar. That's me. That's just my taste. But I bought this used. It's a PRS S2 Standard 24 Satin, and when you pick one of these up, you can feel that, you know, the quality is just that little bit kind of better than the SE guitars. The SE guitars are great. I'm not kind of denigrating those, but these are better. And you know, you pay a little bit more for these, and they don't look as, you know, the SE guitars look a lot like the sort of core models, don't they? You know, the kind of flame maple and the birds and everything. But that's not really what floats my boat. I like this because it kind of has a bit of an SG vibe about it. But if you shop around, you can get one of these used, a good one used, for the same sort of price as an SE. I know, because that's the sort of money I paid for this. So in terms of best value guitar, this by a country mile. And you know, it's just, I won't lie, every time I pick up this guitar I think, why do I ever play anything else? And then, you know, kind of I'll play it for a few days and I think, yeah, it's Blondie's turn now, or yeah, it's the Les Paul's turn now. And then when I pick those up, I think, oh yeah, you know. But this, in terms of what I paid for it, and you know, kind of what it means to me and the spec and everything, it's just a fantastic instrument. So that would be the best guitar in terms of value for what I paid for it. Let's have another look in the chat. Anton, you are not wrong there, mate. It says my Jap Fender 57 reissue is better than my Fender USA Strat. I had what was it? A Japanese 60s reissue Strat for years and years and years and years, from about 1990 up till about 2004, 2005, and it got EMG pickups in it, because there's a guitar player who's a big name, big cheese on the circuit round here, a chap called Andy Power. If ever you get the chance to, and he's a session guitar player, and he plays with like loads of bands and stuff, and he's you know, he's a fantastic guitar player. I mean, just jaw-droppingly good. He can play like Albert Lee 1 minute and then Alan Holdsworth the next. You know, he's just massively, massively talented. And he advised me, like, to put EMG pickups in a Strat, and you get none of the noise, and it can handle as much gain as you like. So that was my main guitar for many years, a Japanese 60s reissue Strat, and it was, yeah, it never ever let me down. I played that guitar in blues bands, in top 40 bands, in function bands, in rock bands, country. You know, it was just a great workhorse guitar. And then the EMG pickups just died on me. And, you know, I should have kept it really, but I didn't. I just chucked a cheap set of pickups into it and moved it on. And there you go. That's another one of those guitars, the one that got away. Let's have a look. What you're saying there, David Evans. Saw a vid a while back saying the thing with vintage is it's old, i.e. gear. New stuff, new technology is more reliable. Would you buy an old car as it needs constant maintenance? Well, there is that, mate. You know, I've got a mate who's probably watching now who he started to learn to play guitar, but you know, kind of life got in the way. So he's familiar with guitars, although he hasn't sort of pursued it much. But whenever I'm trying to explain anything to him guitar-wise, I do always kind of use the car analogy because he's a massive petrol head. But I think in certain cases, like, you know, you consider the number of moving parts in a car, you know, and the complexity of, you know, all of the stuff that's going on in the engine, you know, with kind of all engine-y things like tappets and kind of valve springs and timing belts and all of these kind of things that I've learned from watching Wheeler Dealers, you know, and you consider that compared to a guitar, there's a lot more to go wrong in a car over that period of time than there is in a guitar. With a guitar, as long as the timbre is basically kind of sound and, you know, is stable, then, you know, it's always going to be a viable instrument, you know. You know, if you're not bothered about originality, you know, like, you know, where you can put new tuners on it and you can put new electronics in it and new, you know, kind of new hardware and stuff, and you can have it refretted and, you know, you can bring it back to life. And the thing is about that old timber is that all of the drying out that it's going to need to do, it has already done. So it's going to be kind of rock solid and stable. I think that's a big part of the reason why, you know, Brian May, that guitar that, you know, the Red Special, you know, he's apparently never had that refretted, which I find absolutely astonishing. You think how many hours that guitar has been played, it's never been refretted. And, you know, reading an interview with him, he seldom has to, or, you know, kind of during the heyday of Queen, he seldom had to kind of, you know, adjust the truss rod or anything like that to adjust for environmental factors, because it was made from a lump of, what was it, an old fireplace that was already kind of, you know, 100 years old or something when he built the guitar, him and his dad. So that timber was already kind of dialed in, solid, stable. So I think there is something to be said for, you know, the whole kind of vintage thing in terms of, you know, that the wood, if it's basically, if it ain't kind of, you know, fallen to bits after 40 years, it ain't going to fall to bits after, you know, at any point in the future. What are you saying there, Steve Entwistle? Mentioned it briefly at the end of last week's stream, and close to pulling the trigger on a Sonic 8 Matribox multi-effects pedal for 100 quid. Yeah, I had the Sonic 8, well, two Sonic 8 pedals. One was the Rock Stage, and the other one wasn't, but it was a similar thing. And I can't remember what the other one was. But those pedals are, you know, for the price of, well, for less than the price of one Boss pedal, you're getting 4 fantastic effects in there. A chap who was quite often a regular visitor to this parish, Ozzy, he was called, now goes by 20th Century Boy. He has a Sonic 8 Rock Stage and gigs with it and uses it, records with it, and, you know, just, and they're as cheap as chips. You know, ridiculously cheap. You can find them on Amazon for like 70 quid. So anything with the word Sonic 8 on it, certainly the experience that I've had with their gear is, yeah, it's worth the outlay. You know, so there you go. Excuse me a second. Twiggy Blues, that's the one, Ian Clark. Yes, that's, I couldn't think of it. Let's have a look. I saw that, Jay Ao Young, the video about the Red Special by 5 Watt World. Yeah, there's a really interesting, I don't know if you watch these kind of videos, but there's a really fantastic video of a luthier building a Red Special, not like the ones that you can go out and buy, like the Brian May guitars, but this is an actual replica of Brian May's original guitar, down to the last details, like the way the trem system works, and the fact that he uses, it looks like he's using buttons for the fret markers as well. Just go on YouTube and search for Red Special build, and it's done kind of time lapse and everything, and in about 20 minutes you see him kind of go from raw lumps of wood to playing a bunch of Brian May riffs on this guitar that he's played, and it really is. It's just watching it take shape is I think it's a fascinating video. It's one of those videos I'll probably watch again, actually. Yeah, Murray Music, you've seen it as well. It's what a skilled craftsman he is. I like the way in the video he also gets his little daughter to do a bit of sanding. You know, she's only probably about 2 years old or something, and he gets it to do a bit of sanding as well, and a bit of glue spreading and stuff. It's the thing about these luthier videos that I watch, apart from Ben Crow, because Ben Crow at Crimson Guitars, he does kind of, well, he admits it himself, he likes to do things the hard way to see if he can kind of pull it off and just make it just that little bit more difficult for himself to test his skills, basically. But what I love about watching these luthier videos is you end up coming away from watching them and thinking, you know what, if I had the tools, I could probably do that. Yeah, okay, try it. Let's have a look. Tom Ann won't print my review of the Harley Benton Swamp Ash Strat. All I said was they should print this guitar's weight and the specs, £9 3 ounce, but they won't. I have had similar things, actually, when I've gone to review stuff on Toman, and I thought, are they kind of censoring me? But in my case, what happened was that the review did turn up. It just took a couple of days to show up. So I don't know. Maybe it's a case of that. It's and you go on there on the reviews, and you do see in some cases where people have got a bad one, where they've said so and it's been published. So it's not like they're only allowing kind of positive reviews through, because you see some bad ones on there. Basically, you see some bad reviews, like 1 star. This guitar is awful. It turned up late, and yada yada yada, and the fretboard was this, and the bridge was that, and so it's not like they don't allow those reviews through. It's my guess is it's probably going to show up at some point, or it's just IT doing what IT does, which is to kind of frustrate us humans. I mean, how many times has your computer, kind of done something you think, I didn't tell you to do that, and it does it anyway, or I told you to do that and it didn't do it. So yeah, I wouldn't read anything too sinister into it, mate. Rexomatic is asking, if you were rejoining a band doing original classic rock style originals and covers with a good budget for new guitars and pedals, what 2 or 3 guitars and pedals would you select? Right. It depends really on, I don't own a Strat at the moment, but it's, the fact that a HSS Strat is probably the most widely owned guitar amongst guitar players, because you've got the fatness of the humbucker, so you can just about pull off, kind of big screaming guitar solos on the bridge pickup, and you've got the kind of the kind of single coil kind of thing going on there as well. So possibly some sort of HSS Strat. Couple that with maybe a Telecaster, because sometimes you're going to need a HSS strap maybe with a trem, Telecaster for the fixed bridge stuff, perhaps, where you're doing like double string bend country sort of things. And I would definitely, in terms of pedals, I wouldn't worry too much about things like modulation and reverb and stuff, and and delay and stuff like that for classic rock. They're nice kind of garnish to have, but not essential. I would say a good amp in a box pedal. Something where even if your amp goes down, you've still got a tone that you can go into the desk with that will get you through the gig. And then maybe some sort of drive pedal. The new X Horseman is probably the best drive pedal I've ever owned, and thank you, you know who you are, for sending me that fantastic pedal. It has become indispensable to me now. So yeah, a good drive pedal, a good amp in a box pedal, a HSS Strat, and maybe some twin pickup guitar, maybe a Telecaster, maybe some kind of single cut like that. That would be, it. And assuming you've got a decent amp as well, to be honest with you, you don't. If you've got a decent amp in a box kind of pedal, something like budget conscious, like those Joyo pedals, like the British Sound or the AC Tone or the American Sound or something like that. They're great pedals, and you can get a good sound out of those just going straight into the desk or straight into a decent pedal platform amp, something like just any solid state amp. I used to have a mate who had. It was actually the bloke who turned me on to the Vox Tone Lab years ago. And when I used to use that in all my videos. And he used to use the Vox Tone Lab, same one that I had, straight into a keyboard amp, a PV keyboard amp, and used to get the best sound you've ever heard, really. Yeah, Graham, you're not wrong, mate. There are plenty of musicians playing theatres and arenas with Squiers, Epiphones and Harley Bentons these days. It's a good time for cheap gear. I don't know if you saw that that video where that guy who was in Rumours, the kind of Fleetwood Mac tribute band, where he basically took a Harley Benton ST20 out on tour, and he's doing like arena gigs, across Europe and the States in a big kind of international touring Fleetwood Mac tribute band, and he's playing a Harley Benton, and sounded great, Excuse me, chaps. I think we're on to the Carlsberg now. Scott Pawley, that's the chap. Yes, Steve Entwistle, thank you. T just saying, funny you should say that, John. I was just pushing Joyo American through a Tube Meister 5 cleaning channel. It was a lovely tone. Yeah, those Joyo pedals, they were quite the big thing a little while ago. Everybody was reviewing them. I did a review of the British Sound and was mightily impressed with it. And then suddenly they weren't. I'm thinking I might just grab myself one. Just to kind of see if they're as good as my memories of it. James Falconer is saying, have you ever played a Gibson Birdland? Ted Nugent loves it. No, I haven't. And that always struck me, a big old kind of arch top like that with that kind of big fat rock sound. It always just seemed like, okay, unusual choice. But no, I've never played a Birdland. I don't think I've ever even seen one in the flesh, to be honest with you. Adam San, I watched that interview last night, mate. I had an early finish last night. Unusually, I normally work till about at least 8 o'clock on an evening. But yesterday, because it's the summer and people are kind of, kind of doing summary kind of things. It's there are a few students who are kind of absent from the register at the moment, and so I sat down with the missus and we kind of watched a bit of TV together. There was nothing on TV, literally. This is something. This is one of the kind of frustrations of modern life, isn't it? Most people on this stream now will probably remember the days when you had 4 channels or sometimes 3 channels. You could always find something to watch, but now we've got hundreds of channels and just nothing. or you often find there's nothing to watch. Anyway, long story short, we flicked on YouTube on the smart TV downstairs and watched the Noel Gallagher interview with that pedal show. It was really good. Yeah. What a down-to-earth normal bloke he is. That was my impression of him. It's like, he's the sort of bloke you'd go for a beer with. And I saw that Dave Lewis has a bit of a response up here. I've reviewed a few times, and they just say if you have any inquiries about the rate, just give us a call or email. Well, okay. Give them a call or email them then. That would be that. I find that unusual. I'm not saying that's, kind of not the case. Far from it. I'm just saying that's never been my experience. And, as I say, you go on the website and you see bad reviews. So I don't know. Maybe that's one of their trigger words, when somebody posts a review about weight. That flags something up. It's entirely possible, I suppose. It's certainly something that, that's something that's worth looking into. Leave that one with me, mate. I see a lot of people saying there's never watch TV. It's always YouTube stuff for me. I'll be honest with you. I usually toddle up to this little kind of converted back bedroom about 8 a.m., 7:30, 8 a.m. on a morning, and I'm here, apart from nipping downstairs for a quick sandwich at lunchtime and going out middle of the afternoon to walk the dog for an hour. I'm up here till at least 8 p.m. most evenings, and that's, kind of every day. So I don't get to watch a lot of TV myself. Usually what I'm doing when I'm editing a video on that machine there, I'll have kind of YouTube on or a podcast or something on this PC here. So I don't watch a lot of TV myself. And when I do go downstairs at 8 p.m. or thereabouts, it's, I'm frazzled. So all I want to do is veg out in front of an old episode of Wheeler Dealers or Salvage Hunters or something. So it's the wife who watches TV. And she makes her living these days, or she, kind of makes a wage by making jewelry. So she's sat downstairs in the living room making jewelry, and she has the TV on all the time. So it's, that the TV is very much, a thing for the missus. We could get into a whole discussion here about whether or not the license fee is worth the money, but let's not go there, shall we? Let's have a look. Where are we? Mark Fry is saying 3 channels luxury, BBC and ITV only back in the day. Yeah. Yes, I like Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, for example. That is one of the great shows. Apart from anything else, it's just nostalgia for me, because you, much in the same way as you watch or you listen to music that reminds you of your kind of youthful days. Watching an episode or 2 of this reminds me of, kind of, it reminds me of having a beer with me dad on a Friday when I was 17. and just sneaking out the back door to go and have a cigarette, and thinking, well, he's never going to know, he did, obviously, but yeah, it's just the happy memories that watching old kind of, cherished TV shows brings to you, in the same way that listening to music does, and kind of reading books that you've read many times. David Evans, what are you saying there, mate? Commercials are getting longer on YouTube, says RF. I've noticed that, and they're getting more frequent as well, aren't they? I watched Colin Guitarista's review of that amp today, and it's not just that the commercials are getting longer and more frequent, that there's more of the ones that you can't skip as well. David Evans, no, I don't want to talk about Philip Schofield. Again, people outside the UK won't know who Philip Schofield is. He's a TV presenter that's had to resign because, well, reasons. But not something I want to talk about on this channel, because, frankly, I'm sick of, I read the paper on my phone on a morning. Well, I read a few different newspapers on my phone. I've got the different kind of newspaper apps on here, and I'm sick of scrolling through page after page after page about this TV presenter who's, kind of fallen from grace and has had to resign. And it's like, no one cares, right? There is nothing kind of more true than when people say the media love nothing more than a story about themselves, which is why they keep on reporting about it. But anyway, that's the last I'm going to mention of it here. James Falconer saying, get premium. You also get YouTube music, a no-brainer. I think that might be their ulterior motive, actually. I've never checked out how much YouTube Premium costs, but I might look into it, because the ads are getting more and more intrusive. I find, it's... I don't know if anybody watches Glenn Fricker, the kind of Spectre Media Group, but I tend to watch his... Oh, I see I've got a super chat there. Let's have a look. Steve in Seattle saying, cheers. Thank you very much, mate. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you so much. Here's to Steve in Seattle. Anyway. Glenn Fricker, Spectre Media Group. I tend to watch a few of his videos. But the ones I always watch are the Friday viewers' comments videos. And he has this thing called the butt hurt of the week, where he he kind of flags up some comment that's been left, and then kind of gives his usual kind of angry response to it. Angry, sarcastic response to somebody who's given him an angry, sarcastic comment on one of his videos. And always, every single week, without fail, it always cuts to a YouTube ad right at the beginning of that segment of his show. And it's like, either he's choosing to do that, which I'm not sure you can, frankly, as somebody who uploads videos. You can choose whether you have videos at the beginning, mid-roll videos, and videos at the end, and you can check whether you can choose whether the ads are skippable or not. But you can't choose the exact moment when the ads kick in, but it's always at exactly the same moment every week. Time Prophet is saying, I guess you copied Glenn with the speeding up your voice on the comments. I will admit I did, because it just seemed like... No, he says he did it because he just wanted the comments to get through quicker. I did it because I didn't want my voice reading out the kind of the comments. I just wanted it to be like another character in the video, someone else kind of reading it out. And I tried, like, well, can I put? I did actually think to begin with, well, can I do it in a Dalek voice? Can I put like a ring modulator on it? That was as an old Doctor Who fan from the 70s. I thought, let's do it in a Dalek voice, but it sounded awful. And then I saw a couple of Glenn's videos, and I thought, yeah, just raise the pitch. So it's that became what I did. So I'll admit, yeah, I did get the inspiration from Glenn Fricker. Let's have a look, see what we got in the chat before we wrap up. Let's have a quick look. Dave Evans is saying, John, is it 10 quid for YouTube Premium? It wouldn't surprise me if it is, because most things these days, most kind of streaming services tend to price it about that 10 quid mark, don't they? Anyway, chaps, we're just over the hour, and not to put too fine a point on it, what goes in has to come out. So there is a sense of urgency here, and there's a curry downstairs waiting for my attention as well. So we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you, everyone, for turning up once again and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute nonsense for an hour. Anton, one last question, is saying, are you a John Pertwee or Tom Baker Doctor Who era? Both, mate. I remember both of those, and we shall leave that there. I'm going to go and answer the call of nature and go and get kind of busy kind of sorting out rice and naan breads and stuff like that. So I'll see you all next week. Thank you again, everyone, for turning up. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.